Welcome back to the deep dive. So our mission today, it's all about conversational strategy. You're past the basics, you know your stuff. But now we're diving deep into those essential everyday English phrases.
Right.
The ones that aren't about like complicated grammar rules. They're about flow, politeness, making you sound more confident.
And just, well, easier to talk to, frankly. More natural.
Exactly. We've pulled together a whole load of material to give you, hopefully, the best shortcuts to sounding genuinely fluent.
That's spot on. Think of these less as vocabulary and more as fluency multipliers.
Ooh, I like that. Fluency multipliers.
Yeah. We're not just teaching words, we're showing you how to upgrade those interactions.
Yeah.
Move from just getting information across.
It's actually building connections, managing things smoothly.
Precisely. Handling those tricky social moments with, well, a bit more grace.
Okay, let's get into it. Starting with the absolute basics, the building blocks. We can all say hello and goodbye, right? But how do we use simple phrases to show warmth, signal good intentions, right from the get-go?
Well, that first interaction sets the tone, doesn't it? Nice to meet you is fine, standard.
Yeah, everyone knows that one.
But think about subtle shifts. Maybe in a slightly more formal setting, you could use a little inversion.
Inversion, like what?
Something like, pleased to meet you, I am. Or even just, a pleasure to make your acquaintance. It sounds a bit more considered.
Elevates the register slightly. Small change, big impact potential.
Exactly. It just adds a little weight.
Okay, interesting upgrade. And then wrapping up a chat, we need that polish too. Beyond just goodbye, what's a strong, polite closer?
Have a good day. It's the classic all-rounder, isn't it? Works anytime, anywhere.
True. Very safe.
But if you really appreciate the conversation, say, with a client or a valued colleague, maybe upgrade, thank you.
How so?
Instead of just thanks, try something more specific, like, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today.
So it acknowledges their effort, not just the interaction itself.
Right. It shows you value their contribution.
Okay, so we're quickly moving beyond basic politeness into more strategic language. I think this next area is where a lot of learners feel, well, stressed.
Ah, yes. Crisis Management 101.
Navigating the unexpected. You missed something you didn't understand, that sort of thing.
Yeah, this is where politeness really acts as your safety net. If you just didn't catch the words, maybe it was noisy or they spoke too fast.
That happens all the time.
You need maximum politeness. Don't just say what or repeat. You need a mitigating phrase.
Give us the keys. What are those softening phrases?
Well, instead of a direct command like repeat that, use modals. Could you please repeat that? That's the standard polite way.
Okay.
But if the problem is the speed, you might need to ramp up the politeness even more.
Right, because asking someone to slow down can feel a bit direct.
It can. So try something like, I'm terribly sorry, but would you mind speaking a bit slower?
Notice the terribly sorry and the would you mind.
Exactly. You're signaling respect before you make the request. Softens the whole thing.
I like that layering of politeness. But what if, okay, you heard every single word, but the idea itself, maybe it's an idiom or a complex concept, just went straight over your head?
Asking for clarification there actually shows you're paying attention, that you're engaged.
So it's a good thing.
Definitely. You could say something like, I'm sorry, I don't quite grasp the concept. Could you explain that in a bit more detail, please?
Okay, that shows you're trying. You're just missing the complexity.
Right. You're saying, help me understand this better.
Now let's talk about the famous phrase, the Swiss Army knife of English politeness.
Ah, excuse me.
Yes. It does everything, doesn't it? Getting attention, squeezing past someone, even a quick, oops, sorry.
It's incredibly versatile.
Our sources highlighted something interesting, though. It's less about the words themselves and more about the tone.
Oh, absolutely critical. Everyone knows what excuse me means, but how you say it changes everything.
How so?
Well, if you use a sharp, slightly louder tone, excuse me, that's clearly demanding attention, maybe someone's in your way.
Right. Urgent.
But a softer, maybe slightly rising inflection. Excuse me. That could be a gentle request to pass, or signal you didn't quite hear, or even preface a question politely.
Same words, totally different function based on the music of it.
The intonation is the key.
And sticking with apologies, I'm sorry, is fine for, like, bumping into someone slightly.
Small things.
But what about bigger issues? Showing up late for a meeting, causing a real problem.
Then you need to acknowledge the impact on the other person. That's crucial.
So go beyond just sorry.
Yes. Use phrases that mention the disruption. I'm so sorry I'm late. Okay, that's the start. But add, I sincerely apologize for any inconvenience this has caused.
Apologize for the inconvenience. That's the key part.
It shows you understand their time or plans were affected. It demonstrates empathy.
Got it. And one last one in this crisis section, interruptions. How do we jump into a conversation politely without seeming rude?
Again, it's about those upfront softeners, the mitigators. Lead with an apology for interrupting. Excuse me for interrupting, but... Or... So sorry to jump in, but I just wanted to quickly add, or maybe more formally, may I interrupt you for just a moment?
Asking permission first.
Essentially, yes. You acknowledge the interruption before you actually make it. Shows respect for their speaking time.
Okay, great strategies for damage control. Now let's shift gears to being proactive. Asking for things, requests.
Right. Transactional mastery, let's call it. Asking for help, asking for items, asking people to do things.
How do we do that effectively and politely?
Well, when you need general help, can you help me please, is direct and usually fine in, say, a shop.
Okay.
But if you're asking someone maybe slightly senior or in a more formal context, you might want to soften it further. Using would. Like, would you perhaps be able to assist me with this? The would, and perhaps just add that layer of deference.
Subtle shift adds respect.
Yeah.
And for specific items, asking for a coffee or a document.
Could I have is very common and polite. May I have is a touch more formal, maybe in a restaurant or a very formal meeting.
Okay, could I have or may I have? Simple enough.
But this brings us to a really important grammar point, a nuance that trips up a lot of learners when making requests.
Ah, yes, the would you mind construction. This is a good one.
It really signals a higher level of fluency if you get it right.
So tell us the rule. What happens to the verb after would you mind?
Okay, this is critical. If you use would you mind, the verb immediately following must end in ing, always.
Always ing. Why is that?
Because mind, in this context, basically means object to. So you're asking, do you object to doing something?
Ah.
So learners often make the mistake of saying, would you mind close the door?
Right, infinitive.
But the correct, natural way is, would you mind closing the door? Or would you mind helping me with this?
Got it. Would you mind closing? Would you mind helping? That ing is essential.
Master that tiny detail and you sound instantly more native-like. It's a huge tell.
Fantastic tip. Okay, let's talk preferences and suggestions. How do we state what we'd like or propose an idea without sounding demanding?
For preferences, the go-to phrases are, I'd prefer to, or I'd rather. They're polite and clear.
Example.
I'd prefer to meet in the morning, if that works. Or if choosing between options, actually, I'd rather have tea than coffee.
Okay. I'd rather.
Note that I'd rather often implies choosing between presented options, while I'd prefer is more of a general statement of your inclination.
Good distinction.
Yeah.
And for making suggestions, throwing ideas out there.
The easiest, most conversational ways are, how about? Or what about?
Simple and effective.
Yeah. How about we grab coffee tomorrow? Or what about trying that new restaurant? They feel collaborative, not demanding.
Perfect. And before we move into the more relationship-focused stuff, one last check-in. Verifying information, making sure you've understood correctly.
So important for avoiding mistakes. This is active listening in action.
What are the key phrases here?
Use a summarizing frame.
That.
So if I understand correctly, you need the report by Friday.
Repeats it back to confirm.
Exactly. It shows you were listening and gives them a chance to correct you right away. Or you could use, just to clarify, are you saying that? If you need to confirm an implication or something less explicit.
Great tools for clarity. Okay, shifting now. Section 3. This is about relational dynamics, building connections, managing interactions smoothly.
And we have to start with a big one, culturally speaking, polite disagreement.
Oof, yes. This can be really tricky.
It is. In many English-speaking cultures, especially Anglo ones, direct contradiction is often seen as confrontational.
So, no, you're wrong is generally a bad idea.
Usually, yes.
Yeah.
Especially in professional settings. The secret weapon is the mitigator again.
That softening phrase up front?
Exactly. You have to cushion the disagreement, acknowledge their point first, then offer your perspective gently.
Okay, give us the power phrases for disagreeing without being disagreeable.
Instead of a blunt no, try starting with something like, I see your point, but... Or, that's an interesting perspective, however.
Or acknowledgement first.
Right. Then follow with your counterpoint, maybe softened. I have a slightly different take on it. Or, I wonder if we could also consider.
More formally.
With all due respect, I'm not sure I entirely agree with that assessment. Or, I understand where you're coming from, but my concern is...
That structure seems key. Acknowledge, soften, sedate difference.
Precisely. It preserves the relationship while still allowing you to voice dissent.
Very useful. Okay, how about offering help? We want to sound helpful, but not pushy.
Yeah, sometimes offering help can put pressure on the other person to accept.
So standard offers like, can I help you with anything, are okay.
They're fine. Very common. But sometimes, especially if someone looks stressed or busy, a less direct offer is more considerate.
Like what?
The non-pressuring option. Please, just let me know if you need any help at all.
Puts the ball in their court.
Exactly. It says, I'm available, but leaves the decision entirely up to them. No social obligation to say yes immediately.
Nice touch. Okay, quick one on scheduling problems. Life happens. Rescheduling, canceling.
Yes, need polite ways to handle this. When rescheduling, always use, could we reschedule? Like, could we reschedule our meeting?
Okay.
And crucially, don't just ask to reschedule, immediately offer alternative.
Be proactive.
Yes. Could we reschedule for next Tuesday instead? I'm free at 9 a.m. or 2 p.m. Make it easy for them.
Good point. And canceling.
Use, I need to cancel. Or unfortunately, I have to cancel. And if possible, give a brief general reason, like due to an unexpected conflict or due to a sudden emergency. You don't need specifics usually.
Okay. And what about if you just forget something? A name, a task? I forgot. Sounds a bit blunt, doesn't it?
It does. It can sound like you didn't care enough to remember.
So what's a better way?
The most natural common phrase is, oh goodness, my apologies, that completely slipped my mind.
That slipped my mind.
Yeah, it implies it was an unintentional lapse, maybe due to being busy rather than carelessness or lack of importance. Much softer.
Makes sense.
Oh.
Okay, final section. This is about really building that deeper rapport, going beyond just being polite.
Exactly. Making people feel valued, seen, supported. Let's start with compliments.
Right. Compliments are good, but how do we make them really effective?
The research is really clear on this. Specificity wins. Vague praise is nice but forgettable. Specific compliments land much harder and build stronger connections.
So not just good job.
Right. Be precise. Instead of that presentation was good, try.
Try.
You did a fantastic job on that presentation. I was especially impressed by how clearly you explained the data. See the difference?
Yeah, focuses on a specific skill or part.
Or compliment a quality. Not just, you're smart, but I really admire your creativity on this project, or you're incredibly resourceful when problems come up.
Acknowledging internal strengths? That feels more meaningful.
It is. It shows you're paying attention to them, not just the outcome.
Okay, and what about encouraging others when someone's struggling or needs a boost?
Again, be genuine and, if possible, specific. Simple encouragement is fine. You can do it.
Standard.
If they're already doing well, keep up the great work is motivating. But if they're really struggling, hitting a wall, avoid empty platitudes like, don't worry.
What should we say instead?
Try reinforcing their capability based on past evidence. Hey, don't get discouraged. You'll definitely figure this out. Remember how you solved that tricky issue last month? You've got this.
Connects it to their known strengths or past successes, builds real confidence.
Exactly. It shows you have confidence in them.
And finally, reacting to good news.
Yeah.
Someone gets a promotion, achieves something.
Simple and enthusiastic is usually best. That's fantastic news. Or, congratulations, that's wonderful.
Informal reactions.
Awesome, brilliant, fantastic. All work well among friends or colleagues you know well.
Great. So bringing this all together, what does this mean for you listening right now? We've covered a lot, from advanced greetings to handling disagreement to giving meaningful compliments. These phrases, these strategies, they're really the tools that bridge that gap, don't they? The gap between just knowing English words.
And actually using English fluently, confidently, effectively in real conversations. That's the whole point.
That's the mission.
And the best way to make these yours, to really internalize them, especially the tricky bits like the mitigators or that would you mind plus an ing.
Practice.
Insistent practice. But don't try to swallow it all at once. Maybe pick just 3 phrases from our chat today.
Okay, like one for...
Yeah, maybe one for making a polite request, one for apologizing sincerely, and one for giving a specific compliment. Focus only on using those 3 actively for the next week.
Small steps, big progress.
Exactly. Consistency beats intensity here.
Yeah.
And listen out for them. Pay attention when you're watching movies, listening to podcasts. Notice how native speakers use these phrases.
Note the context, the tone.
and practice them. Even talking to yourself in English helps embed them.
Absolutely. Before we finish, though, there's one final thought we really wanted to leave you with.
Yes, it's something really important. We focused a lot today on the words, the phrases themselves.
Which are crucial.
They are. But remember, communication isn't just words. It's music. It's delivered through rhythm, intonation, tone of voice.
The how you say it.
Exactly. You could use the most perfectly polite phrase we've discussed, but if you say it with a flat, harsh, or sarcastic tone.
The politeness is completely lost, might even backfire.
Right. So as you practice these phrases, pay just as much attention to how native speakers deliver them. Notice the upward inflection they often use to sound friendly or questioning, the softer tones for respect, the slightly faster pace for enthusiasm.
Mastering that musicality, that delivery.
That's the final, crucial layer for truly effective, natural-sounding communication. It's what makes people feel comfortable talking to you.
So start listening for that rhythm. Practice that delivery. We really hope this deep dive has equipped you to make these everyday phrases truly your own and boost your conversational confidence.